For Off the Block, I'm Vinny Lopes, and I am now joined by Ball State University head coach Joel Walton as his team is starting to get into the swing of things with their fall preseason. Coach, I got to ask you, what is it like for you guys right now as your team is, hitting the weight room and getting back on the court a little bit for the start of your fall block?
Vinny, this week was our first week with 20 hours, so we are doing just what you're talking about. We're going from the period of the fall where our guys were lifting and only doing 2 hours of work on the court to now 5 days a week. They're in the gym training. We could be training a sixth day as well, and they're putting the weightlifting and some of the conditioning work on top of that. So for our freshmen are already looking at us and going, hey, we're a little sore. For the seniors, juniors, the upperclassmen, it's more of a normal routine for them.
Yeah. And Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about last season. You look at your team and, a little bit injury, got hit with the injury bug towards the end of the season, probably didn't end the way you wanted to end. But, what were some of the positives that you were able to take away from last season and carry into this fall training session?
Vinny, I wrote up a list of things that our team accomplished last year. And, just like you said, the guys put together a very strong season. There were a number of things that they should have felt proud about. We had victories over Ohio State, and we were actually the last team to beat Ohio State last year before they went, and I think we must have inspired them, but they went on a great run through the end of the season and then went on and won the national championship. But we beat the defending national champion Loyola at home. We beat defending national runner-up Lewis at home. And fly at home, at Ball State. We also were able to beat UC Irvine here at Ball State last year. Some other positives out of last season, we finished tied for second in the league standings at the end of the regular season. And then we also had, and I think you're pretty aware of this, Lem Turner had an unusual thing happen while he was at the freshman orientation convocation. He got invited down to play a game of musical chairs, which he won. And then he had an opportunity to shoot a half-court shot, basketball shot, and he made it. And so he won free tuition spring semester. Because of that and because of his reaction, I think in the convocation, Ellen DeGeneres invited him on the show where he got to shoot some more baskets, and he made a basket, and Ellen gave him a brand new Ford Focus. So there were a lot of really positive things that happened last year. We had a 20-win season. That would be another positive. Unfortunately, the asterisk that came at the end of the year was going into our last conference weekend, Brendan Serena, the first night of that weekend, rolls his ankle. We were already missing Nate Wolf as a right-side attacker because he had torn his meniscus earlier in the fall. Jack LaSure in that very same match where Serene rolled his ankle, got concussed in warm-ups. He was another one of our right sides. Marty Nimshevsky, who had played on and off for us as a starter for each of the last 3 seasons, Marty was kind of dinged up as well. So we didn't finish our last conference weekend very well. That's what slipped us back to a second-place tie in conference. And then as we started in the conference tournament, we came up against McKendree, and they played a very good match against us here at Ball State, and we lost 0-3, basically being about 4 or 5 guys down on the right side in our depth chart and just not having anybody left that we could put on the court that was really comfortable and confident in that position.
Well, and Coach, one of the other positives from your team last season, it feels like every year, is just your defensive performance. Last year you were among the leaders in blocks per game average and among the leaders in digs per game average. And I want to ask you, what is the mentality for you guys going into this preseason to continue that success of defensive domination that we've seen in recent years?
Well, Vinny, I think a big part of that is how we train our team. We put a lot of emphasis on ball control, both in serve receive and our backcourt defense, and we spend a lot of time in training blocks each week, giving our guys digging repetitions, giving them an opportunity to understand how to shape their platform, where to stand on the courts. I think it's also, at least both back row and front court defense, it's a reflection of how we do our scouting and the information that we're giving our guys in what they should expect from each of their opponents every weekend. Again, giving them an understanding of what shots attackers like to hit. That helps our blockers understand where they should be positioning their hands when they block. It helps our back row players know the positions that they should be in the backcourt for each of the attackers. So we're changing and continually morphing what we're doing with our defensive game plan depending on who we're playing against. And a lot of that gets back to being able to teach our guys the game of volleyball and help them understand the players have favorite shots. And for each opponent, you might be in a slightly different position to be best positioned to make plays. And so we're trying to get our guys in positions to make plays, help them understand why we're doing that, and then we're giving them the reps through the course of the week so that when they're in position to make plays, they can actually make that play.
Right. And, Coach, we talked about the defense, but I do want to ask you offensively, what do you feel that your players and team need to do to get to that next level offensively?
Vinny, my honest answer to that is, offensively, I think you have to be very talented. You have to have the right kind of guys. Offense becomes a lot easier if you've got that blue chip, right side, left side, middle, that everybody's gone after, that everybody sees the same physical and athletic ability in. I think dominant offensive players are typically guys that everybody sees those same things in and wants to have on their team. Offensive domination just a lot of times comes through having either guys that are so technically sound in how they approach and the consistency that they can get their hand on the ball and the shots that they can choose from and select, as well as if you are just physically dominant, if you are able to hit at a level that goes above the block or at the top part of the block or the outside part of the block, or if you're so strong or whippy in a way that you can hit a really hard ball that becomes difficult for the defense to make plays on. Those typically come from the top recruits that everybody's going after. Once in a while you're going to see somebody come out of nowhere, so to speak, but the ability to get those top recruits and those guys that can come in and as freshmen or even sophomores step on the court and make an immediate impact on your program, a lot of times those are the offensive difference makers. And so I feel like we're starting to get more of those pieces. Matt Walsh, Brendan Serrain, Mitch Weiler, those kind of guys are doing some very good things for us offensively, and they're continuing to improve. We think in this year's recruiting class, Matt Chevs, who's a freshman out of Wisconsin, and Blake Reardon, who set the Illinois kill record during his senior season of high school volleyball. Those two guys we're seeing a lot of great things offensively out of already. And so we feel like we're putting some very good pieces in place. We've also got some good commitments for this upcoming class. I can't talk about them yet because they're not officially signed. But when it comes to offense, then I think that's more a case of you've got to get the guys that are capable of being those offensive difference makers.
Right. And, Coach, you do want to ask me, as you mentioned, a lot of outside attackers. It seems like you have a nice mix of some veteran seniors and some incoming freshmen. How much do you think we're going to see some of these freshmen play this season?
Chevs is already pushing. Matt Chevs from Wisconsin is already pushing quite a bit to potentially be our starting right-side attacker. He's doing some very good things in practice. Blake Reardon, again, is showing a lot of improvement early in the season. The left side position we're a little bit deeper in this year, so we're very pleased with Blake's progress. He's just going to have to work past a few other guys to get out on the court. Nate Amos, who's a middle attacker out of Chicago, that we recruited. Nate could either end up playing for us in the middle or the outside, and he's got some experience that he's going to need before he's really ready to step on the court and contribute. Spencer Smith, the right side who came to Ball State from Indiana, he's actually, Vinny, our only player on this year's roster from the state of Indiana. Spencer's doing some really good things in practice, but it's going to take him a little bit of maturity and some additional strength to really compete at the college level. But boy, we love Spencer's attitude in practice. He's just coming to practice every day motivated, and he's super excited when he's making good plays. Nickel Vanchi, our libero, he's going to be activated this year, and he's going to give us a great second libero to be pushing Adam Wessel this season. We're really pleased in his progress. And then our only other freshman that I haven't mentioned is Cortland Scherenborg, who is our setter out of Virginia. And Cortland's come in, setting a really good ball. He's pushing for some playing time. It's just difficult for him. His main competition, other than Jake Romano, who we redshirted last year, is Connor Gross. And Connor Gross has been in our program now for 3 years and has played as a backup for all 3 of those years. But even as a backup, has seen significant playing time through each season. So Connor comes in with more of a familiarity for our systems and our roster of players. But Cortland Scherenborg is doing a really good job for a freshman, and we're pleased with his progress so far.
Coach, I can imagine it's a pretty nice feeling when you see your lineup and see that there's a lot of players that are going to be pushing each other for positions, and I'm imagining that has to feel good, giving you some more options.
I think anytime you're able to have depth, not only do you have more options and things that you can try as you're matching up with each of the opponents that you play through the course of the season, there's also hopefully some protection for whatever injuries or other situations might come your way. The collegiate season from January to May is a long season. It is a grind, and especially when the freshmen come in, it's a much longer season than they're used to. So it's nice when you've got some depth. It's nice when you can play different players in different situations, find what guys' strengths are, and have an opportunity to utilize a very deep bench or a significant number of players on your roster instead of maybe only relying on 6, 7, or 8 guys to carry the team for the entire season. It also, Vinny, makes it very competitive in practice, and we're seeing that already this fall. These guys, we'll put out a couple of teams on the court, and it doesn't matter how we've switched our roster around. Every day is very competitive in practice.
Coach, I do want to ask, kind of a bit of an exciting time for your program right now. Recently saw that they are in the process of building the new Don Shondell practice facility for your team, or in the process of that. I want to ask, what does that mean for you to be able to have your own volleyball practice facility?
Well, Vinny, it's very exciting for us. I wish it was a volleyball practice facility only. That would be a bit of an overstatement. Yeah. Actually, what's happening is we're building this new practice space, and it's very important at Ball State because we're one of a very few number of schools within the country that have men's and women's volleyball and men's and women's basketball all sharing one facility. So because of that, getting all 4 programs enough practice during the day and finding ideal practice slots for each of those teams can be difficult. There have been, especially some fall semesters, where our team has had to practice beginning at 7 o'clock in the morning, maybe up until like a 9:30 in the morning type of practice block, and that's difficult on the guys. I think it's hard enough for a college student many times to get up at 8 o'clock to go to that 8 o'clock morning class. You imagine trying to get up at 6 or 6:30 so that you're at the gym and ready to step on the court and begin practicing at 7. That's a totally different beast. So the new practice facility is going to be a 2-court space. It's going to be usable by basketball, by volleyball, and it's going to create a second space so that not only men's volleyball and women's volleyball, but also men's and women's basketball can have more ideal practice times and bigger blocks of practice times. The volleyball programs here have basically been given 2.5-hour practice slots. The basketball programs have been given 3-hour practice slots. So now we can have 3.5 hours if we need or want on a given day, and it's going to give us better opportunities to train our team. As far as the facility being named in honor of Coach Shondell, that's, I believe, something that is overdue. It's something that's well-deserved. You just see the impact that Don Shondell has had on volleyball at Ball State, but also in the Muncie area, in Indiana, and really even all over the country.